Hi, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the 45th episode of Let's Talk About Market. We are seeing a sideways consolidation in the Nifty index today, but, one noticeable trend in the past few days is that, while the market is holding up or maybe even inching higher, but the breadth does not seem to be picking up. And this actually, this was very much prominent, but while I was updating the data yesterday, that's where I saw that, the 20-day AD ratio has again come back towards the lower line. So what does it mean for the Nifty index, and what trend to expect? I think this will be the talking point for today. And let me quickly share my screen and discuss. Please let me know once you all are able to hear me properly and you all are able to see my screen properly. Okay. Is my screen visible to everyone? Can someone please put a comment in the chat box? Are you all able to see my screen? Okay. I think I've got the confirmation from my teammate. Uh, okay. So, okay. Thanks, everyone, for confirming. Mute. Yeah. So once see, if you look at the Nifty index, basically on the hourly chart, if you see, uh, it looks very much normal. That is because over here basically there was an up move, there was a bit of a correction, again an up move, and this looks like a consolidation, and probably it should be headed higher. But for that, I would believe that the 40-hour exponential average should not be broken on the downside. So if you see the 40-hour exponential average, that is somewhere around 25,146 at this point of time. Today's low so far is 25,170, sorry, 165. So I think somewhere around this zone, basically the 40-hour exponential average and the lower band. So the lower band is at 25,117. So I think these two are important support levels. Now I think why Nifty is at a very very crucial point is because, so let me explain you. So see, basically what is happening in the past few days is that while the Nifty index seems to be rising higher, but when you zoom out and you see, the breadth is not that great, and that is why we are all feeling that okay, that while the market is going up, the stocks are not going up, and it is not making any material difference to us. But the fact that the Nifty index seems to be rising higher, it means that if not anything, then at least large cap are doing well for now. And if you historically also see, there is a pattern that first the large cap will start rising higher, then the mid caps will do, and then the small caps will do, and that's how typically things play out. And even if you see the FII's participation in the past few days in the cash market as well, while there has been some selling that was seen, but the selling pressure has gone down substantially, right? You can see over here, in this decline, they were selling, but ever since this up move has come by, the selling pressure has abated. In fact, for few days they were even in positive. Yesterday there was a sell figure, but the quantum of the selling, as you can see over here, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, all those things, if you see, relatively the selling has gone down. Now you will get a very different perspective altogether if you see this yearly chart, and you can see that there has been these two back-to-back years. 3 lakh crore, 2 lakh 50 crores. Despite of that, the Nifty change has been 8% and 6% so far, right? So that sort of tells you the resilience of our market as well. And when we look at the sentiment data holistically, okay, which means that if we just look at it from an unbiased lens, which means that if I see say clients plus FII, okay, which is the addition of clients net index position and future net index position, and this you can see is in oversold zone. So over here, you can see that whenever this oversold was happening, we had seen a good move on the upside. This was election day low. Okay, over here it was Trump's tariff fear, and now we are over here. Okay, now what it is telling me is that despite the Nifty index has gone higher by almost 15-20% from this low, but the pessimism is around the same level. Okay, so more or less, I think this should trigger an up move sooner or later. I mean, that is what I have been trying to say for quite some time now. Uh, so far the index has held out, but it has not necessarily moved higher, and that's where if you see any of the FI's positioning, so say index futures as well, long percentage, everything is towards the oversold zone, single digit, which suggests that they are very much skeptical. Now when this skepticism go, I mean, this is anyone's guess. Someone had even asked me that have we seen their short position sustaining for this long. I mean, you just go by the data, and honestly, we have not seen such bearish positions, sustaining for a long period of time. So, this does let us, I mean, this does make us think that whether something has changed very dramatically, or what has happened. I don't know. I mean, if we just go by the history, while yes, it has been sustaining at the oversold zone for a long period of time, but I think that eventually, this should resolve on the upside. And there are other things like, now you can see the breadth also has come towards the I mean, very much near to the first line. Now, can it go to the second line? I mean, those are all open debates. But what I think, and I feel that may happen, is that once this resistance line gets broken on the upside, eventually we will see a broadening of breadth, a short covering, and all those things will start playing out. But until then, this is the pain point, and this is where we need to be in a wait and watch mode. And if not anything, then at least be prepared with the list of stocks, right? So yesterday was one of the way, I mean, I showed you few ways how you can scan the stocks, and you can find the outperformers. In fact, today I was at the dashboard, I was looking at the dashboard. So what I realized is that over here, almost, if I do the sorry, not the financial service, but the total market, right? Out of the 12 names, almost uh, 7 to 8 are actually the financial names. Bajaj Finserv, LTF, that is L&T Finance, then RBL Bank, Muthoot Finance, Nippon. So there is certainly some trend that we are seeing over here. That is, sorry, yeah. So we are definitely seeing some trend in the financial sector, and that's where if you zoom in, okay, and if you see over here, financial services, sorry, it would be fin nifty. Okay, and over here you just put the setup and you do the weekly chart, and what you will see is that up move, consolidation, and now it is trying to rise higher, and over here we are seeing a bearish crossover. In fact, I think the bearish crossover, no, okay, I thought it was confirmed last week, but no, this week it might come into the bullish zone. So now then, the thing that we need to watch out for is that whether it is able to break and sustain about this support zone or no. If it does, then I would tend to think that it was a breakout, then a consolidation happening, and now again it is rising higher. And in fact, the ultimate reversal levels will be this daily averages, because if the trend has to pick up, then ideally these averages won't break on the downside. right? So that is what I am thinking at this point of time. And this also, looking at the 52-week high, that is what the screen is also even telling me. So the broader idea of, I mean, the way I am thinking about this is that, okay, there is a possibility that there can be some consolidation that we see over here. But I think, sooner or later, we need to prepare ourselves, basically, for this breakout. And for this breakout, I think mentally I have an upside level of around 10 to 15%. That is because whenever we have seen this breakout happening, we have seen that kind of move. I mean, I have showed you in the past also by measuring through the scale. So that is what, basically the expectation will be like. So, I don't know how many people are new over here, but I'll just quickly highlight over here. Okay, like you can see over here that whenever their positions are at an extreme on the downside, okay, it has generally been followed by a 15 to 18% kind of move. Okay, you can see over here. Okay, let me put it in the drawing mode. Okay, you can see over here almost 15-18% over here. This was the lowest point. Even if I take from open to this, there has been 14-15% move. So I take it any, I mean, I look at it in either ways. It suggests that eventually we should be breaking out. And if I have to think of a breakout and a move from the lows, so let me even consider from this point. Okay, and even if I conservatively take 15%, I mean, we have seen 15 to 18% move, right? So that also works out to somewhere around 28,200. Okay, and now this is what the chart seems to be indicating. I mean, when does it happen, how does it happen, what will be the trigger, I don't know. But this is what so far the chart seems to be suggesting. Okay, now what we need to see and do is that, how to basically, find out the stocks and sectors. And that's where, those who had missed out, you can see yesterday's session. So on the YouTube channel, you will be able to see over here, strike money. Once you type this, go to strike money, go to the 44th episode that we did yesterday over. Yeah, you can see over here, and here I have explained how to, scan the stocks. But, just for, people's reference, I'll just mention top down approach if you want to do heat map, and RRG are the best tools if you want to do bottom up. Okay, so through heat map and RRG, you try to identify which stocks or sectors are going to do well, and then you go to the scanners like, RMI, Dow Trend, and in fact, you can also use heat map all stocks for that purpose. Okay, and you try to identify where is it that the momentum is going to pick up, or when is it that the turnaround is going to happen. And this is how, you will be able to figure out the fast moving stocks, or at least the places where the momentum is likely to pick up. Okay, so if you all have not seen it, please, I would recommend, go to the screen and watch it. Now, today I will show you one more way how you can do it. Of course, we have discussed this in the past, but, based on the insider deals and trades. So, look out for the stocks where the promoters are buying. And see, I have mentioned you that, there is some refinement that we need to put it over here. We basically make it more user friendly. But at this point of time, what you can do is that you can scroll down. Okay, at least till the first September period, you just scroll down. Okay, so let me quickly do that. Now I'll tell you the reason why we need to scroll. So once you scroll down till 1st September and then you take it in the Excel, So then, you will be able to get it, okay, till that point. So now, if I, so say I'm doing till fourth, okay, let me just do it till first only then. Yeah. So this is the point. Now, if I do export to Excel, right? Now over here, if I see and if I go down to the date, most likely it should come till, yeah, see, it has come till August. So now what you need to do is that put a filter over here, okay? Look out for promoter and director, promoter group. In fact, you can also, yeah, if you want to do relatives, that is fine, but you can do this and then go to acquisitions by, okay, and over here go to the mode of market purchase, and if there are any, okay, others. So if you do this, now these are the ones where basically the promoter are buying, okay. Now we can see Clarion Chemical is one, I think this was a deal something which Sudarshan Chemical or something had made. I don't know whether this was Clarion Chemical, but yeah, nevertheless, what you end up seeing is a list of this stock. Now, you simply have to go to the stock. As I mentioned, I mean, this might look a little cumbersome to you. At some point, we will improve this experience as well. I mean, we are mindful of this that we need to improve it. But as you can see over here, and you can simply go over here and see the list of stocks, where they are when the where the promoters are accumulating, right? So you can find which are the stocks that excites you. I mean, one uh, one company where I was looking at it and I was looking at the valuations and everything, and that looks very reasonable, is actually DB Corp. And if you see over here, the promoters have been buying left, right, and center for this company. So just to give you a context, if you do DB Corp over here, you can see the promoter buying that seems to be happening, right? And this is all happening in last 1 or 2 years. Especially in 2025, they have been buying a lot more aggressively, and that's where I think I had also shown you this. So see, one thing is that you will have to look, I mean, you have to try and scan the stocks through this, and then eventually you will have to look into the stocks, study the fundamentals also, how the balance sheet is, how everything is behaving, and so on, right? Just go over here, look at the fundamentals, look at the valuation ratios. So over here, we have given the valuation ratio which is recommended. Okay, I mean, you have to ideally look at these valuation ratios, and here you can see that market cap to sales, it is okay and reasonable. P, again, it is okay and reasonable. In fact, if you go to the overview and if you see, the dividend yield is also very good in this case. It is almost 4.45%, 4.45%. If you go and if you check the balance sheet as well, in fact, if you see the annual P&L as well, so last year was an election year, due to which they saw a huge spike in revenue. I mean, that is always the case with this advertising and media company. But after that, it seems to have normalized, and it seems to have cooled off. So over here, you can see that there is a declining PAT trend, but probably there is something that promoter is more confident about, and that's why they are willing to buy even at the even at these levels. So that's where once you get a fair bit of idea of this, and I think this is a I mean, you can see that the long term borrowing is zero. The short term borrowing, there is hardly 57 crore. And if you see the assets over here, they have almost a cash and cash equivalent of 1000 crore. So cash and cash equivalent of 1000 crore, and then you see the market cap which is of 3 4000 crore. Sorry, BB Corp. So you can see that the market cap is 3,700 crores and so on. So you know that there is some value that is there in this stock, right? So then once you identify this, that there is a value that is there in this stock, then you just try and look at how the weekly and the monthly setups are, and then try to find a good entry point in those stocks. If not anything, then at least these are stocks that are worth keeping on your radar, because promoters are the best guys to know what is happening in their company. And when they are buying something, it's definitely worth noting why they have been buying, right? So go to the insider trades. I had mentioned earlier as well that I just go and I check every day once, where is it that people are buying, where is it that they are selling. You get to understand the market mood in general. Okay, these days we are not seeing any significant movement, because now we are heading into a quarterly result, right? So many of them are into the silent period. But once the quarterly the quarterly results are out and that 45 days window is over, that's where people again start coming back, and they buy and sell stuff. So it's definitely worth looking into this screen as well. And just spend 4 or 5 minutes on the screen, and you will be able to get a fair idea about what people are doing. Okay. So yeah, I think based on the scanning, as I had mentioned in the top down approach, you have this. In a bottom up, you can also use heat map of futures to play short covering rally. And if you have, so these two things are mainly for a medium term. Okay, for medium term, this, and then you might want to look at insider trading, and try to identify the stock where we are going to see I mean, you can try and identify where is it that the promoters are buying, and is there an opportunity over here. Now see, once again I'm telling you, it's not that if you see over here they are buying, just go buy and next day. But keep them on your radar. And we have already learned a lot about technicals as well now. How to use the RMI setup, and how is it that we need to wait for those setups to play out. I mean, utilize all those things. And firstly, more importantly, go to sentiment indicators and form a market view. Okay. So ideally, see, I mean, this is the process that we try and follow. Okay, we mostly try to follow the top down approach. First is that know the trend above, know the trend of the market. For that, use sentiment indicators to know what the mood is, and are we going to an extreme or no. And then to then identify best sector. And for that, you can use heat map or RRG. And then to find stocks, use these methods. Okay. Use these methods. Now, as I mentioned, these two methods are the one. So see, if you're doing RMI Dow trend and all, it can work well for short term, medium term, and long term as well. And if you have slightly medium to long term view, then look out for these. Because I have mentioned n number of times in the past as well, that when there is a huge short covering that is at play, typically that move can last even for 3 to 6 months. The only thing is that you need to be a little patient to to go through that pain. Because I'll show this once again for the people who don't know. But whenever the open interest is very high, at some point it is going to turn around. What will be that some point is something that we need to identify, and try to understand when the move is going to happen. Say for example ITC, okay, in this entire up move. So whenever the prices were going into the consolidation phase, that's where the open interest was rising. And when you look at it very closely, you'll realize that in the up moves there used to be a little bit of short covering, but in the decline they used to again come and short it. And you can see that after that a big move occurred, and this lasted almost for a year, and the entire thing was on the back of short covering. I mean, this has happened in ITC, this has happened in Sun Pharma, and right now also we are actually seeing all these things happening in IT stocks as well, right? Wait, let me just refresh the screen once. Oops. Yeah. Okay. This has happened in Sun Pharma as well, as I had mentioned earlier. And this, I'm telling you, I mean, time and again, I have seen all this happening. But the only thing that requires over here is patience. Okay. And in between, there will be meaningful bouts of short covering as well, which might make you think that, okay, the trend has finally reversed now. Now that's where you have to gauge a little bit of market and understand the market pulse and try and manage that. But once you know that a bigger degree move is going to start, I mean, that's where you will be able to capture these big moves. And that's where I mentioned that if you have a medium to long term view, then try to play for this kind of move. And you need not necessarily buy into futures, but you can simply buy it in cash, and you will see those moves playing out sooner or later. So I think that's all I have today to present. And more importantly, the most important takeaway is this: I think you need to identify the process that works best for you. For us, this works well, and I think with this, see, what happens is that when you put a layer of market, then you put a layer of which sector is going to do well. 50 to 60% of the losers you are just trying to get away with, because if your market trend is going to be good, then most likely most of the stocks will do well, right? If most of the stocks is going to do well, you are trying to identify which are the outperforming sectors, right? So once you are able to even do that, so as I told you, I mean, 50 to 60% of your job is done. Then all you have to try and identify is that which are the stocks that are going to perform well. Okay. For that, the sectors which are going to do well. Try to find the stocks within those sectors. If the stocks fall into those sectors, then you have probably done 80-90% of the job. The only thing then is to get into the stocks and ride it patiently till the trend plays out. So I think the more important takeaway that y'all should be having is that try to figure out a process that works well for you, and once it works, stick to it and trust it. Because many a times we tend to doubt ourselves, कि ये पहले तो हो गया, अभी होगा क्या, and we have all those thoughts, right? So it's very important to trust that process. And I think, yeah, that is it. Because see, markets are sideways these days, so there is not much that is really to share, because we are getting some lackluster moves as well, right? So that's where I thought that maybe it would be interesting to share this and maybe remind you once again. Many of you all might be knowing this, but it's better to remind you once again, so that it brushes up the idea that has been shared earlier. So that's it from my side. If I'll have any questions, you please let me know. I can try and address it. And as I mentioned, please try to ask the question more conceptually, okay? Because we don't want to recommend anything. The idea is to learn, and how you can make the best use of strike as well. which can help you find the stocks quickly. That is the whole idea, right? So if you'll have any questions, please let me know. If there aren't any, then we can probably wind up the session. So I'll wait for few minutes. So it's 11:30 now. I'll wait for 2 to 3 minutes. If I see any question, I'll be more than happy to clarify it. But yeah, I think one important thing that is for sure is that we are reaching to a point where sooner or later we should get a move on either side. It is basic because we are seeing a clear divergence in the price. The prices are rising higher, okay, but the breadth is not good. Now either the index has to rise higher and this eventually has to catch up, or the index will falter and the AD will come down, and maybe more short positions get built up. I don't know. The probability of the latter happening, which means the index also falling and further more short positions getting built, I mean, that looks a little unlikely given the way how all the data points, even lot of RMIs are also giving a bullish crossover. In fact, if you see for Nifty itself, it is on the verge of giving a bullish crossover this week. So over here also, if you see, it is almost over. Almost around the red line. If we get some positive move this week, then this can lead to a bullish crossover as well. And if you see many other indices like Bank Nifty, which is the largest component of Nifty index, that has given a bullish crossover last week itself, right? And now important thing is that we need to see a follow through. So we are at an important point. Let's see which way things go. uh, if you ask me my what is my expectation, or how do I am, or how do I look at it, you know looking at the various data points, I am just getting that feeling that we should eventually break out on the upside. When does it happen? I mean, that is the only watching point. I mean, market is surely testing a lot of patience, but let's wait and watch and see how things unfold. So yeah, broadly I think that is it from my end. Any questions, please let me know, else we can wind up the session for the day. I'll wait for a minute. Okay, so I don't think there are any questions. So we'll wind up for the day and let's catch up tomorrow and see if we are able to see any trending move. So thanks again for joining, everyone, and let's catch up tomorrow at 11 a.m.